we're just at this free camp just outside Mount Isa, which is in outback Queensland. Everywhere we've been lately is just full desert and heaps of red rocks and red earth, and then we arrived at this little oasis. So many different birds here and it's just full of life. It's the first time we've seen big gum trees in a really long time. It's a bit good. Anyway, today we're going to make some raw chocolate and peppermint tarts, and yeah, they're going to be super easy and super quick. As usual, we're going to use our little USB blender. Let's get them. I'm going to start off with 3/4 of a cup of desiccated coconut, and then I'm going to blend 1/4 of a cup of almonds and 1/4 of a cup of pepitas. These are going to make the base, and then we're going to make like a date chocolate filling that we're going to put some peppermint essential oil in. Set it into it. So I'm using a little USB blender. A few nuts will have not blended, but I'll just pick them back up and add them. I think I'm actually going to leave my little bits of chunky nuts in there because it might just add a tiny bit of texture. But you guys go with however you may feel. I'm going to add like half a dessert spoon of raw cacao powder, which is really good for gut health. It's filled with fibre as well. All the goods. And 3 or 4 dessert spoons of coconut oil. I'm going to add 3 and then we'll have a feel. Rice malt syrup or whatever, whoa, whatever sweetener you guys feel. I mean, maple, amazing. I mean, you don't really even need a sweetener if you don't have a sweet tooth, but I do. I'm going to add 2 spoons of this and then we'll just suss out the texture. Now, there's only real one way to do this, and that's to get your hands in there. Can you hear that whistling kite in the background? And of course, being outback Queensland, there are heaps of flies. Very persistent flies. We were just in Karumba, and Karumba was filled with these massive grasshoppers that would land on you every second. I'm very glad they're gone, but they've been replaced with very, very persistent flies. Now that's kind of how I test this. See how it's all kind of clumping together now? I always squeeze a little bit and see how it sits, because it's going to set in the fridge, and I think that needs like another half a dessert spoon of coconut oil. I'm just going to guess it. Beautiful. So now we're going to press this guy into these little molds. I love these little silicone molds. It makes it super easy to get the things back out. I'm going to make mine layered, so I'm not going to come up the sides of the mold. I'm just going to do it like a slice. I mean, the easiest way to do this would be in a baking tray and just make a slice and then cut it afterwards. But I don't actually have one. You want to press it down nice and firm so that when it goes into the fridge it sets as like a nice little crunchy base. Super delicious. There's a whistling kite out there really giving her vocal cords a go. VanLife, and I've made a mix for 24 little tarts for a nice sized tray. So now we've got our little bases sitting in the fridge. Last night I soaked half a cup of dates and half a cup of sunflower seeds. So we're going to blend them for the filling. But here I've got a nice hunk of dark cacao butter, and that's what they make cacao nibs out of. And that, look, it's probably 2.5, 3 dessert spoons worth. But that's the best I'm going to give you. I'm going to melt this on our little butane burner, which is a dream, living in a van, by the way, with 2 dessert spoons of coconut oil and 1 nice big dessert spoon of the rice malt syrup. Rice malt syrup isn't quite as sweet as maple or honey or any of your other sweeteners, but I kind of like that about it. So, I'm going to put that in my double boiler, soften it down, here, just a little blend. Now I've kept about a dessert spoon and a half of the liquid that I soaked the dates in, but I poured everything else out. And I just save that bit of liquid to give the blender a little bit of something to grab onto. Especially a USB blender. It does not like blending stuff tough, like it doesn't have enough power in it. This will just take a little minute to melt down. It has been so hot lately, like sitting around 40 degrees for us, and this morning we've got this beautiful breeze, there's a little bit of cloud coverage, such a different day, and I am loving it. So good. We woke up at sunrise this morning and the whole sky was just lit up fluorescent pink with all of the texture of the clouds. Yeah, it's magic. Open up the back doors of the van, have a little squiz. This week is our 4-month anniversary of living on the road, and I feel like we've just kind of settled into the swing of things. It takes a while to get into the routine of not having a routine, but yeah, I feel like we're really in it now. It's great. See, that's really starting to happen. Oh, I can smell the chocolatiness. Now I've just pulled this off the heat and see how there's still some melting, but I'm just going to stir it melting. And my lovely cameraman Sam just asked me why I've done that, and that's because I don't actually want to heat this up. I just want to melt it, softly melt it, which is keeping the dessert raw, which I'm not really too worried about the classification because I'm not on a raw diet. But yeah, you don't want to heat it up too much because it's going to change the taste and the structure. See how shiny it is from the coconut oil? It's delicious. Now, I'm going to try and use that as my moisture to get this blending. Let's see. A cup of soaked sunflower seeds, and I've added like 3 tablespoons of warm water, and see it's like nice and soft. Right, so I've been blending away, and as you can see, it's nearly totally smooth. It's a bit like the chocolate fruits, really. I'm going to add about a dessert spoon of raw cacao powder, just to give it some more dark chocolatiness. It's going to be nice and rich. And then I've got Young Living essential oil here, Peppermint. I'm going to add just 2 drops of that. It is super pungent. Yum. And give it one last blend to smooth things out, and then we'll fill our little cases. We're back. Alright, so I've blended that up. Remember we added the peppermint oil and all the little bits. The dates have given it heaps of sweetness, we've got the richness from the dark cacao butter. I just tasted it. It's banging. Really, really good. If you can make this recipe, do it. So I've got my little cases out of the fridge now, and as you can see, they're all firm and set, and they look beautiful. So now I'm going to top them up. Oh, the wind's getting me. This mix, and look at it, it's so creamy. Yeah, bite through that and get your crispy little base. Oh my god. So good. As you can see, we've got a little rock here. That's my new thing. I've been painting our van on rocks and leaving them wherever we go through Australia. So they're all up the east coast. And, yeah, all through Queensland, which is pretty cool. I don't really know if anyone's found one yet, but I like to think that somebody has and got a smile out of the situation. I'd love it if I found one. Oh, yum. And these are so healthy, comparatively. They're refined sugar free, they're gluten free, they're dairy free, they're bloody delicious. We've got all the textures going on, and here I've got some cacao nibs. I'm going to put them on top just for like another layer of crunch. So you're going to get the crunchy base, the soft fudgy centre, and then a little nib on top. And I reckon you can't have too much chocolate, can you? Notice that I didn't actually use a large amount of nuts in this recipe, which I normally do with my raw desserts. I've kind of omitted them for sunflower seeds. Sunflower seeds are super cheap, like super cheap, and they have no flavour really about them, and so I've soaked them and used them inside. Normally I'd probably use cashews or something, but they're exuberant in price. And when you're on the road and you're travelling full time, you can't really afford to have them all the time. So I hope you guys enjoy that little cost cutting. Alright, and so they'll go back into the fridge for like, I reckon in 3 hours they'll be set again, and we'll probably get back on the road and try and find our next spot for this evening, and I'll get them back out and you can see where we're at. Since we saw you last, we've arrived at Bunjamala National Park, which is also known as Lawn Hill, and let me tell you, it was quite a journey to get here. We took the better of two roads, and it was a 7-hour drive, and 5 hours of it was dirt road and extreme corrugation with heaps of road trains going past us, creating huge like bull dust storms around us. Like you had to stop the car and wait out for like 2 minutes while the dust settled. It was a wild time. I'm pretty tired, but we have arrived. It's an amazing oasis. Check it out. And in that time of that drive, these little guys have set perfectly. And I'm really, really happy with them. Got our little chocolate and mint tarts, and the chocolate has set kind of in between a mousse and a fudge like texture. You can see that, and that 2 drops of the peppermint essential oil was the perfect amount. It's just got that little bit of peppermintiness, but it's not overbearing. And yeah, I would say this one's a perfect little recipe. Give it a go. So raw, vegan, sugar-free, gluten-free, all the things, and bloody delicious. Oh, it's such a good texture. And what? So they had 7 ingredients in them, I think. You know, no fuss, super easy to make, quite healthy to eat. The reduced amount of nuts in this recipe too means that they're a lot lower in fat. Seeds are easier to digest than nuts. And yeah, I'm pretty happy. You should definitely make them. Get them, guys.